if you're a coach trying to grow a business on LinkedIn, but it's not really working for you, then you really have to watch today's video because I am going to share 3 really important algorithm changes that you don't want to miss. This is for you who have been struggling and are now ready to succeed. Chances are you have the question, what the heck do I really post? And maybe you're also a little bit paralyzed by what your former colleagues might think and whether your content is valuable enough to really be on LinkedIn. So you write stiff, polished, little bit of boring content that sounds like everyone else. And that's not really working now, is it? Here's the big shift for the LinkedIn algorithm. It is actually made up of people. LinkedIn doesn't want to hide your posts. They want more people to actually see your posts. But at the same time, they want their people to see relevant information for them so that those people stay on the platform longer. They want this to be a win-win game, both for you and for themselves and for their people. Well, if we haven't met yet, my name is Josefine Wanner, and I spent almost 20 years in the financial services where I spent a little bit too much time on creating PowerPoint presentations for topics that I wasn't really interested in. So if you want to master a human-first LinkedIn strategy, you're in the exact right place. Let's tackle the biggest fear that definitely held me back and might be holding you back too. The fear about what other people might say and think about you. The fear about what if I say the wrong things and what if someone criticizes me publicly on my own post. This is a classical example of imposter syndrome. And what usually then happens is that either you don't post at all or you post content that feels very, very safe. But the data shows that exactly the opposite is what's really working. Genuine human posts outperform corporate language every single day. And the algorithm prioritizes conversations above broadcasts. When you share the raw, real mistakes that you have made yourself so that your ideal clients can actually picture themselves in your shoes and they see that you actually really get them, that is when things will change. That is when you will be building trust. But you need to be careful. I don't want you to share when you are at the bottom. I want you to share when you have overcome that struggle, when you are on the other side. And there is a reason for that. And that is you will get a lot of engagement. You will get many, many impressions if you share when you are really feeling bad. But it will also give you a lot of pity. And people don't want to invest in services provided by someone that they feel pity for. They want to look up to you. They want to admire you. And that doesn't mean that you're sharing inauthentic content. It just means that you're not sharing it when you're right in the middle of your worst experience. So how do you then do this? I want you to claim a topic, something that you want to be known for, because that will give LinkedIn an opportunity to put you in that box so that they know that if someone looks for that topic, they can actually place you in front of that audience. Yes, it's still that your first connections and your followers will see your content first, but they have also broadened it now so that people who are interested in the topic that you are sharing about have the opportunity to see your content too. But for that to happen, LinkedIn has to know where the heck do we place you? So start talking directly to your ideal clients' pain points and watch the algorithm help you to put your content in front of the right people. And to be able to do that, you have to use the language that your audience is using. You can't use coaching language for this because what happens then, it's that your audience of other coaches will grow. So if you are not targeting coaches, you need to skip the coaching language. You need to go back to the language that your ideal clients are actually speaking. One question I often get is, how often do I really need to post on LinkedIn? And I believe what's hidden there is a little bit the fear of, I don't want to come across as spammy, or I don't want to annoy people with my content. And maybe I look salesy if I show up too much, or maybe even desperate, right? If those are the fears that you are feeling too, then we need to clarify that already now. Because you're not spammy, you're not salesy. You come from a place of service. You really want to help people. And if you're just broadcasting generic advice, then yes, you might come across as spammy, which is why your content needs to have a bit of quality and it needs to have you in it. You can't just use AI to spit out something, because what happens then is that you sound like everyone else, and that will take down your post. LinkedIn will not show that to people. So the algorithm has shifted. Now we're talking about quality and consistency that overweighs quantity and virality every single day. You don't need to post 7 days per week. The sweet spot today is around 2 to 3 times per week, but then you also need to engage there. You need to be on the platform. You need to engage both in your own content, but also in other people's content, because that signals to the algorithm that you're actually there to build a community, not just to broadcast whatever it is that you want to shout in a megaphone. But what if you're getting views, but that is not converting into calls or clients? You're putting in the effort, but it's just not converting. This happens when you value a big audience instead of a high quality audience. So don't judge a post that only gets a few likes and comments. What also LinkedIn is valuing now is the time that someone looks at a post, the dwell time, the time that someone saves a post, or maybe even shared with their network. That is also weighing in on the high quality of a post. And that will categorize you as a high value creator. And remember, less than 2% of everyone who's on LinkedIn is actually creating content regularly. So even by you creating content once per week will place you into that category. And also look at your call to actions or your call to engagements. Do you tell people what they need to do next? You can't always sell in each and every post, but I want you to be a little bit more strategic about what it is that you're posting and what you want people to do next. Keep it to one call to engagement per post. That will increase the probability that some of it will actually convert. And remember that behind every view, every like, and every comment, there is a real human, or usually there is a real human. There are people who use bots, but mainly the people that you want to attract, they are real humans. So write for the real humans. Ignore the bots and start talking to your people. So if this video helped you to clarify what the algorithm really is, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and then we'll see each other in my next video. Bye.